Machine men with machine minds and machine hearts.
What's up?
All right, what's up? Welcome to Cyber Reality Check, the streaming talk show that cuts through the corporate jargon and gets real about cybersecurity.
If you're trying to break into the field, you're stuck on the help desk, or you're a security leader, like wondering why you buy these multi-million-dollar tools and they ain't solving your problems, you found your people here.
I'm Brian, aka Cyber B.
And I'm Zach Smith, if you're nasty. We're here to deliver the no BS insights, real world stories, and hot takes that get you blacklisted from vendor parties. Let's cut the shit and let's talk about what really matters. Your mom. Kidding. She means nothing to me, frankly. Let's talk about some cyber.
All right.
We really need to like tighten up our like cuts, right? Like we need like better, like in between these little segments here, we probably should like put some music in or something. OBS is a bitch though. I'll be frank with you. OBS is kind of a pain. This is kind of a hobby. I really haven't put a lot of effort into it. I'll be frank with you, Brian. But hope maybe we can tighten this up. Maybe
We're both doing it as a hobby, sort of. I think it's just sort of outlet, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. We're having a good time. We're like chatting it up, you know. And doing it on video, which makes it even kind of weirder, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So our first segment,
it's, you know, we're informing those other people out there, as for, you know, that are part of our whole little, you know, thing, or you know, I don't know what to say about it, but it's, you know, our people,
our sphere. Right. I never like been interested in being an influencer or anything like that. But I love YouTube and I like this format. And I like being able to chat with people and talk about it. You know, I was really inspired by, of course, the Good Doctor's morning show, right? And so this is just kind of you know us riffing, right? You know. So our first segment we got set up here was pick your poison or your path in cyber, because a lot of people say, Brian, I know you know this, people are always like, I'm interested in cybersecurity, I want to be in cybersecurity. It's kind of like saying, I want to do sports, or I like computers, I want to do computers. It's like, well, there's a lot to that, right? Like, let's break down some of the domains that people can actually find their footing in cybersecurity, right? One of mine that I'm kind of interested in, I'll be frank with you, I never had any interest in it, is GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. But as I've went through my journey here of trying to learn, study, I realized that I might have a niche in the corporate world, which is strange because I never really aspired to that at all. But I enjoy talking to people and I like explaining why things matter. Especially like, you know, cyber is often considered a cost center, right? But the reality is that it's just this medium that we're all using today is going to just continue to get bigger and bigger a part of everyone's lives, and securing it, the email, the internet, the World Wide Web, these things weren't really made with security in mind, right? And so it's really important that we start making like rules about this. And GRC, that's kind of what it is, governance, risk, and compliance. It's kind of like, you know, teaching folks, right? That's my biggest takeaway recently, is that GRC is really like teaching people why this shit matters.
It's part of it. It's definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you definitely don't want to don't want to rest or sleep on GRC. That's that's where everything, all the nitty gritty is coming down to. You're invoking those NIST frameworks and whatever other frameworks that you want to use. Even some companies are coming up with custom frameworks now that are all related. You got PCI DSS, HIPAA, high tech, high trust, CMMC, all that different stuff. And it's CISOs, the ones that sit up there in the C-suite and inform all the, make all the business decisions regarding, cybersecurity. A lot of them come from, a GRC background because, they learn to speak that language really
Right.
well. And I mean, I've witnessed it firsthand from people around me as well. Including our beloved Dr. Ozier. So, yeah, it's definitely down to the science of cyber, basically.
Yeah, I think Dr. Jerry is totally um, doing like a teaching thing with his daily cyber brief, right? Like he's really reaching the masses and teaching a lot of people. It's like a overarching GRC project in my mind. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to being able to chat with him in the future about it because I think that it's a really cool concept that he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Moving ahead, SecOps. Right, I'm not really familiar, like what even this means, like security operations. I think I have a good idea. Brian, what do you know about it, man?
Well, I mean, so everyone thinks going back a little bit here, but everyone thinks that cybersecurity is just a bunch of people sitting around in hoodies looking like penguins, like Linux people and all that, just sitting there
What?
freaking
You talking about me?
hacking. Yeah, exactly. Just sitting there, just hacking away and coming up with malware and infecting a bunch of
Mm,
script kiddie activities and stuff like that. But it's not necessarily what it's all about. So when we're talking about SecOps, you might be sitting around in a hoodie staring at endless amounts of logs and stuff like that, but you're also going to be considered on the front lines of cyber defense because you're literally monitoring for threats, responding to those alerts that come down on your SIEM, whatever you want to call it, and keeping your network or your organization safe as a whole. You're not only are you looking at those alerts and doing all of that, you're actually tuning your system to make sure that you're getting the stuff that you need to see, as well as just throwing out and blocking the stuff that doesn't need to be there, and also blocking out and dulling down the noise of the alerts that really are not doing anything useful for you. So there's a lot to it. And I mean, you can go even further and go into so that's something more of like a SOC analyst position or something like that. You can go
mm-hmm.
into, incident responders. They're going to take it the next step. They're going to go, if something does happen, they're going to take actions and start investigating and seeing where and when, why, and how things went wrong, as well as, you know, taking actions to make sure that your company has business continuity and things stay running. And, if needed, disaster recovery, something happens where things go down, it needs to come back up so your company can stay doing what it's supposed to do, which is either make money, provide services, whatever it is, it's got to do it. But then, they got oh man, one that really got my attention back when I first started all of this was threat hunting. And the guy that got me interested in it was Chris Brenton from Anti-Siphon or
Yeah, yeah.
Active Countermeasures. And it's just the tools you get to use for threat hunting are cool because you're not just looking at the stuff inside your network. You're going out like an outlaw basically, and you're hunting down the bad guys outside of your network. You're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily attacking them or anything like that, but you're finding them and figuring out what happened even further than just inside. And you're sort of going for the gusto, you're really trying to, I don't know. It's I don't know how to explain it. You're more like the outlaw cowboy, going after the bad guys.
It's like the cool part of the blue team, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I think I've heard a lot. You were talking about alerts, and like tuning your firewall and your seams and shit to like because I've heard of burnout, and coming from somebody who's like done roofing and shit like that, it's hard for me to imagine burnout sitting at a computer. But when you think about constant alerts being popping up, right? Like, and it's like, oh shit, I got to check this out, check this one out. I've heard that a lot of times what happens is they get numb to it, and it kind of is like, yeah, whatever. And that's, I think, what threat actors probably want, right? Is that for them to be overwhelmed with bullshit alerts, so that they ain't gonna have time to check them all out often. And so what happens is uh, the bad actors get through, you know. And so I think that, you know, businesses really should probably think about that when it comes to taking advantage of these employees. Like we've discussed before, you're filling multiple roles as a. Well, I told you this week I applied for a cybersecurity specialist position, right? And that's probably one of those that you got to do everything. You're responsible for everything, you know, overwhelming. And then people wonder why a 1 year in a SOC analyst position feels like 5+ years, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
it's a lot of stress. So I could see where the burnout would come from that, you know,
Oh
totally.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, I
and
mean, you're using the same tools over and over again. You're doing the same, a lot of the same repeated tasks. I mean, if you've ever worked in a SOC, I've had a little bit of experience. Yeah, it definitely can lead to burnout. There's a lot of, you need something to break up the monotony. But so maybe the specialist might be a position that's a little bit cooler than just the SOC analyst, because you get to do a little of this, do a little of that. But at the
right,
same time, are they going to be pulling you in too many directions to really focus on doing anything
exactly.
effectively at the same time? Because a lot of these positions, unfortunately, I mean, it's all fun, but they are specialized for a reason. It's because you need in-depth knowledge to be able to do and
Yeah.
go further into a lot of these tasks.
I wonder if somebody that is hiring for something like that, are they just looking for like a scapegoat, right? Are they just looking for like somebody to be like, oh yeah, it's this guy. We hired him to do the
it,
cybersecurity. He
it was
failed at it.
him.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know, and I'll do that. I got broad shoulders, man. I'll take that shit. I'm cool. You can just hire me. Damn, hire me for whatever. I'm cool as long as I ain't going to prison for a while. You know, I'm good. You know, you can blame me for whatever the hell, man. So yeah, that's kind of like the SecOps. It's kind of is. Would you say it's always blue team? Is SecOps like always blue team? I feel like it is, right? Security operations is overwhelmingly blue team ops. You're not red teaming, right? You're not like you're
Well,
not you're not hacking
I
into
mean,
systems unless it's, I
Well,
guess.
so red teaming isn't necessarily always hacking into systems. Sometimes you're actually defining the vulnerabilities within your own system, or the stuff that you're already involved in on the side. So I mean, it can be, that's when they come up with that purple teaming
Yeah,
and stuff like that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But I mean, penetration testing is that's a whole separate, to me, that's a whole separate entity when you talk about it. I mean, it definitely takes some special individuals to do that stuff. And not so much as like the physical part of it. I could probably get into the back HR room of any
Right. Bring a
retail
box of
store.
donuts or whatever. Bring pizzas
Seriously,
in.
yeah, any
Yeah, yeah.
factory, anything
Hmm.
like that. Like, that ain't even a problem for me. You carry around a ladder, you can get into a concert. I mean, come on, the guy
Or
proved it on
walking with a
YouTube.
clipboard. Walking with a clipboard and a fucking vest anywhere, a
And a
bright
hard
colored
hat. There you
safety
go.
vest, and a hard hat. Shit, you getting into anywhere, man. Um,
Anywhere.
but
So,
hey, oh, okay. So this kind of leads into the next one, application security. Now this is more for coders. This is more for programmers, right? This is something that if you have a lot of experience in coding, um, teaching developers how to write secure code, integrating security into the development lifecycle. These are things. This is kind of another one of my interests. I'm really interested in this because I like code a lot, and I think it, a lot of these problems could be eliminated if code was written securely to begin with, right? Like if you take
right,
security, and that's another thing I think there's a push for nowadays is to develop software with that in mind, right? To develop
right,
things with security in mind, which when these were just more like tinker toys, it wasn't a problem. But now, when serious business is happening, that needs to be uh, of paramount concern, I would say, in this day and age. You know, application
right.
security is a really big thing, and I've been learning about it a lot. In fact, I think later this month I'm going to go get another cert or test for one for GitHub's advanced security, right? You know, because they have a ton of different automated techniques to check for like secrets that got accidentally put into the code, right? And so I've been studying. I've been slacking off, honestly. I've been meaning to study a lot more for that. But I got like days. I'll probably like really grind it out in like 3 days before it and pass by the skin of my teeth. My teeth is like I do. That's how I do. I'm a last minute guy. I don't do a lot of prep, honestly, unless something's really, really serious to me, because I kind of know it already. I just don't know every detail of it. I took a practice test. I got like a 65. Hey, that's pretty damn close to passing, I feel like. I mean, without any studying, that's not bad for myself. So I figured, well, I'll bang it out. But I'm kind of geeked about that because that goes with the application security thing. I love open source and free software. And, I'm not the biggest fan of GitHub, but you got to admit, I think they just went past like 1 billion repos. I think I read that the other day. They have a billion
Yeah.
software repositories. And I think the billionth one just said shit. That's all that was in it, was just shit.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's a big
But
field, right?
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That field is blowing up. You couldn't be more right. And honestly, just knowing you, I know that you like to tinker with a lot of the code and stuff like that, and you're into a lot of that side. I really think if you couldn't get into GRC, I think AppSec would be definitely a good place for you to start as well. From different stuff that I've done on Try Hack Me and stuff like that, they've got a few like different AppSec activities that you can do. Well, more than a few, but definitely some of those. And just knowing like you and how you deal with different things and stuff like that, and how, like you said, you're a tinkerer.
Yeah, I
I
like
definitely
code.
think that's right up your alley. But
Like,
it's like you said, it's cheaper to, you know, do it secure the first time instead of sitting there trying to go back and redo it.
yeah, and who knows what
So
kind of horrible incident you're going to prevent, right?
right. And so the other one that well, I don't know if it's blowing up currently anymore, but it already did blow up for sure. I know that because
What's that?
especially when that CRIS came around, is privacy. And you got all the different states
Yeah.
implementing their privacy laws. You had California do it, Colorado did it. I think, did Illinois do it now finally too?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, brother. I'm not really sure. I don't really
I'm not
follow it.
sure
I
either.
don't believe that it's really hard to protect your privacy in this day and age. I've
Right.
studied on it quite a bit, and I know that there are a lot of people that are really concerned with it. But hell, in this day and age, man, I mean, if you're going to participate in the economy, in the U.S. at least, maybe not in California as much. I think in fact, didn't they just switch it to basically what it is you have to opt in to any of these things instead of opting out, right? You know what I mean? So like when you go to a website, when you sign their EULA or whatever the hell, right? A lot of times it tells you we're going to sell this information to our partners, blah blah blah, and it's just de facto, right? Well, with I think in the UK and maybe in some states now, it's the case that you have to opt into that. You're de facto opted out of it, right? You see what I'm saying? That I think that's one of the biggest things. I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like I'm right
Yeah,
about that.
but so yeah, the whole European Union, not just the UK. It's because you had GDPR over there and stuff like that. But yeah, it's you know, California, they're the ones that sort of wanted to be the forefront of it. And I think because Silicon Valley is in California,
They got a big economy there too. California is like one of the world's
huge,
biggest economies. Yeah.
huge. Um, I mean, I'm more than happy if they want to break off and become their own country too. Don't
Why
hold
does
back.
everybody hate on Cali so much? Everybody I know hates on California. They're like, if it breaks off into the ocean, I don't give a shit. It's like, wow, that'd be pretty fucked up if you ask me, but whatever. I think California's
I
great.
didn't say
Love
it had
y'all
to
in
break off
California.
into the ocean. I just said, if it wants to become its own country, like, hey,
I
more
think that's
power to them.
Texas. I think that's Texas, right? Texas trying to be its own country,
Dude,
maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Texas
Illinois is
is
about to
big,
split up,
man.
even, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
supposedly, yeah, we're gonna get half of it's gonna get Chicago, and the other half's gonna go to Indiana. I don't know what's going
there's
on,
some
man.
there's some counties downstate that are like
Yeah,
literally
33,
trying. What's that?
33 of them.
33 counties?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me? Wow, I thought it was like five or something, bro. That's absurd, man. Do they even know about what Indiana's like? I don't understand, right? Like, man, you're lucky to be in Illinois, bro. Illinois is pretty great. BJ
I told
Prickser,
him
I love you, bro.
I told him just take Chicago and he can go to they can go to Indiana. We keep the rest of the state whole. We're good, man. Like, but no.
Chicago's great. Love me some Chi-Town,
Yeah,
man. You know,
we're all paying
all the
for it
tax
though.
base, all the tax money comes from Chicago. Everybody downstate that
They
relies on the
wish.
tax money. It's all coming from that area. It's all coming from that area up there.
We're paying for them now though. That's the problem. That's why everyone's mad because it's starting to go the other way. So
Huh?
it's sort of started turning into a New York State situation where the whole rest of the state's paying for New York City. You know?
Really? Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how. That's why it's a horrible process of like gentrification. Then the communities start doing bad. Then the people move out, and then it cycle repeats itself over and over again. Oh, you know what I
Over and
mean?
over,
Yeah,
over
we
and
really
over.
got to do something to build community up. I think that is like critical. We need to start working on our communities more. Everybody's so closed off, right? And our technology seems to be making us even more so. You don't have to go to the fucking grocery store, and you don't have to leave your damn house. You can work from home.
COVID did that, man.
I
COVID
think it
started
helped.
it.
I think it helped, but people were already weird as fuck before COVID. Let's be frank. Everybody wants to like blame COVID for this. And here's a hot take. Put this one in the hot takes for later, baby. Everybody acts like COVID fucked everything up. Y'all were fucked up before COVID hit. All right, just let's be clear about it. Me too. We all were. COVID just kind of brought everything to light, right? Maybe. I don't know. Light bright.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right, right,
It
right,
very
right.
well could be. I've heard it a lot. In the education system, they blame COVID a lot for everything. You know what I mean? It's like,
Everyone
yeah,
blames COVID for
yeah,
everything, I
right.
think, man.
COVID did it, man.
I hear
Wasn't
it
me.
every day almost.
Hey,
Seriously, it's crazy.
so you brought up incident response a little bit before, didn't you? I think we were
Yeah, a
just
little bit,
talking.
but I think you're gonna give a little
Yeah,
background on that and see
it's
where
like
we're
the
going on
emergency
that
room.
because that's
Initially, when I got into cybersecurity, I thought, wow, that sounds kind of cool. It's really high stress, and I've always thought I do my best work under like really high stress situations. Like I can't fake seriousness. Like something has to be serious. So like in emergency situations, I often shine, right? And so I thought, wow, this would be cool. When I went through that boot camp, there was another cert that you could get. You had to pick between Sec Plus and some other. It was like incident response something, incident responder, whatever. And I thought I had never heard of this. I'm gonna get Sec Plus because it just makes more sense. But then I kind of delved into the whole idea of incident response, and I thought, that's really cool. What is it? Kind of right of boom. I think is how they refer to it as, right? Like right of the boom.
yeah,
After bad shit happens, which to me, I think it's probably better to focus on before it. But everybody's reactive, everybody's responsive. What is it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Is the mentality a lot of times. And so,
a
in
lot of
order
times.
for people to take cyber serious, bad shit does have to happen. And then people are like, oh, let's throw some money at it. Let's buy this tool. Let's spend the money on this. And then everybody's sitting around like, you guys know how to use this shit? They don't even know how to use the fucking brand new tool. Somebody's got to study for a year before they've already paid for the licensing for a year before they're even using the thing properly. And I'm not saying all vendors, all, products are like that, but I got a feeling that a lot of them are, right?
Well, you got some people that are actually doubling and tripling up on tools that do the same exact functions, and they're like, "Oh, well, we use this for this, and this for this, and this for this." Okay, that's great and all, but if it already integrated with your system on the one use, you could probably make it do that across the board and have saved yourself a ton of loot, with on the other two that you didn't need.
Yeah, they got
And I
sold a
mean,
bill of goods.
yeah, and unfortunately, I won't even lie, man. I've encountered a couple of companies lately that literally did that, and I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, well, why would you do that? And they couldn't explain beyond the fact that, oh, well, we use this for this and this for this and this for this. And it's like, yeah, but that tool does all of it in one and you don't have to pay anything extra. So why would you?
Right. Why would you roll out 4 tools when one of them would have did it? Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I get the whole onion thing and the layers and all that, but at that point, it's not really, there's different layers all in the same tool, like,
Yeah.
so it's just, I don't know. And I'm not criticizing. I mean, anyone can make up their, I'm not
I
a
feel like you're
system
being
architect,
overly
I'm
critical,
trying,
Ryan. I feel like you're
I'm
being
trying.
overly critical here.
I'm trying to grow with the whole thing in my career and stuff. So I can't be like, oh my god, they're horrible. But at the
Hmm.
same time, it just, to me, some of the stuff, some of the choices don't always make sense. But I think
Agreed.
it,
Agreed. And maybe
I'm not
that's one of the
making that
things.
6-figure salaries, so I don't know, man.
Well, maybe the people that are starting to get into this field will be able to help make these changes and stop. I'm of the belief that um, just because somebody gets a degree or they get some certs or whatever, they got the job, they got the six-figure job, that doesn't make them the most qualified or educated in that certain thing, right? Like I think I mentioned this before. It's like, I'm a cook and Gordon Ramsay's a cook. You give us the same ingredients, the same tools, we gonna have a different outcome. Okay, that's just how it is. People have different abilities, right? And so you can almost kind of tell when you're discussing something, cybersecurity specifically, and people, like you said, they'll say, well, we got this for this and this for that, and this is like, well, then explain to me what it does and how it works, because that's how I get a clue of your real knowledge of something, right? Like if you just know that, okay, this is our firewall and this is our SIEM, blah blah blah. It's like, that's great, bro. What does it do? What does it monitor? What network interfaces are you paying attention to? Where there's just so many questions. You know what I mean? There's so many
Too
real
many.
questions. This is a broad field. There's lots of things to be interested in and paying attention to, and that's why it's critical to understand that when you want to get into this industry is like, what do you care about? What do you want to spend your time doing? Because I think you'll avoid burnout if you really care about it. I'm not one of these people that be like, oh, you'll never work a day in your life if you do what you love. Bullshit, man. Even if you're doing what you care about, work is always work, and it might get a little monotonous at times. But if you
You
care
might.
about it, it'll probably make it less of a pain in the ass. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Most
Yeah,
definitely, man.
yeah.
So that probably brings us into our next spot here. We're talking
Yeah,
about, skilling up with a strategy. So what strategy you got in mind here, buddy?
sheesh, bro. I don't know. I'm not the best strategy guy, frankly. I'm like I said, I'm a like seat of my pants type of guy, And when I hear all these people talking about studying and their techniques for studying and everything else like that, man, I study on my desktop. I study on my phone. I try to find little bits of time to learn all the time instead of like mindlessly scrolling some social media or watching reruns of the same goddamn show like 15 times. I try to, use my time wisely. That's like my best strategy, frankly, right there, is sneak in an hour here, 30 minutes, 20 minutes here whenever you can. But for like the biggest mistake I think people make is randomly trying to get certs or watching videos. There's an endless amount of videos to watch, and I don't know how much value you get out of all of those. And um, it's stacking certs. Like people are like, I got this cert, I got that cert. It's like, that's great, bro. How are you putting that shit in action? And so I think one of the really big things is labs, right? Home labs and CTFs. I think those are really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. So, your home lab is definitely like your spot to be able to speak from the heart when you go to an interview. When you're sitting there, you can throw it on your resume. All right, everyone's gonna have it on their resume at this point. I feel like because everyone's told them to, whether it's
Right.
our buddies over in Simply Cyber or TCM or any of them. I mean, all those classes they literally tell you make sure you talk about your home lab. But what is your home lab? Is I literally recently got to talk about my home lab, and what I did is I actually have old Netgear router and
Right
some
on.
other different Internet of Thing devices, and even an old iPad and some I'm talking like first gen.
Yeah. Man, the battery life
My
on those things is still a beast. I have two. I don't think they're first gen. I think they're like iPad 2 or some shit like that. But man, I can let those suckers sit for days. And as long
right,
as you're not using them, the battery
right.
stays on them. It's
The
incredible,
only thing that drained them before was the screens. The screens were the only thing that really drained them.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
the backlight and all that.
In fact,
So yeah. Oh, go ahead, man.
I have an old iPhone, bro. I have my daughter's iPhone 5 that has a
Yeah,
busted screen, and there's like a Linux it's like a VM. It's not quite a virtual machine, but it is. It's Alpine Linux. It runs on this
yeah.
app called iShell. ISH is what it's called, and I set up a web server on that bad boy right? And
That's cool.
my goal is to, and I did DNS. I've been playing around with it a lot, different servers on
Yeah,
it, right? But my goal is to get it solar powered, so that it literally is like a green server. You know what I mean? And it's made
that's
from
cool.
junk. Yeah, it's made from junk. A lot. My lab is a little different. A lot of people have like Cisco shit, right? In their labs, right? You know what I mean?
Some
A
of
lot of
them,
people
yeah,
like
some of them definitely do.
buy like old gear like
Old
off
switches.
Facebook, yeah, or something like that, you know. And I've thought about doing that. Several guys I know that have tried, they kind of give up because it's like working, right? Unless you're really into it, it's a task, man. You know, especially
Yeah, it
like
could be fun.
yeah, I think so, but I'm a nerd. I like nerd
Yeah,
shit, right? You know.
right,
But
right,
if you're not into home labbing, then you may not really want to get into this as a career, right? You know what I mean? If you don't think this
right.
kind of stuff is fun, then this may not be for you. Frankly, right? That's just my opinion, right? Is that like setting up Security Onion or Splunk or any of these tools that people are
What's
going to use.
up?
Yeah, was I love that name, right? I
Yeah,
think that was the
they do
first one.
too.
That was the first one that I ever had any practice with, right? Wireshark is another fun one to play with, right?
Okay.
And learn packet decoding, start busting out PCAPs and going through them and seeing what you can figure out through those. You know, those are really cool,
Yep.
and that's what people use. And so if you can speak to that in an interview or whatever, it just makes you look even better as a noob, right? You're not just somebody coming in with education. You have experience with the tools as well, and people like that. What do you think of CTFs? I know you're not the biggest fan, right? We've talked about this before, right?
Right, right.
Uh,
Well, I wasn't that good at them, so I was having to learn like how to do CTF. So like,
yeah,
because I mean, some of them require a little bit more in-depth knowledge, a little more programming or scripting stuff like that. And
yep.
it's once you sort of get the hang of it, honestly, they're really all not that bad.
A
But
lot of them
I
are the
had
same.
to, yeah, I had to really figure out like what the heck was going on in them and stuff like that, and really find things that sort of played to my strengths as well too. Like I'm still not like you know, oh my gosh, I'm the best at CTFs or anything like that. But I mean, I did go and get my AST, like we talked about, like you got too. And I mean, you actually literally have to go and do write ups on and
Yeah.
solve multiple capture the flag activities just to be able to get this certification, which is more than a lot of the certifications can even say out there. And that comes
Hmm.
from our boy John Strand, who actually said himself in multiple of his classes and presentations that he's been in that he'd rather hire someone with hands-on keys experience versus someone just coming out with a degree or a certification because he
Right.
wants to know that you put in time. So when you go and you sit there and stay on that, hack the box or try hack me or something like that, and you get the top 1% or top half percent or whatever it is, it's showing people that you're actually dedicated to what you're doing. You're not just sitting there like, oh well, I can read a book and I can take a test, or I learned this in grade school and teacher said as soon as I get the certification, I'm going to get a job. And it's no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Good luck with that because there's a lot of other people out there with that same mindset and that same training.
Yeah.
So how are you going to stand out? That's the key. How are you going to stand out?
Good luck with all that, right?
Right.
So some of them that I'm familiar with, I know you are too, Brian. Hack the Box, Meta CTF,
Oh
World
yeah,
of
medicine.
Haiku. I just did a thing on World of Haiku today.
Oh yeah,
Jenny Housley is
nice.
she created one, and they had a thing on LinkedIn that she reposted about, hey, come test this out. We'll give you like a month free. I haven't really screwed
Oh
with it at all.
cool.
Have you ever checked out World of Haiku?
No, I'm about to though. No, you
Bro,
told me about it,
bro,
so I'm
it
gonna
is
check it out. I
dope.
haven't been on Simply Cyber for a minute, so
Yeah, I haven't been participating as much as I want to either. I meant to this morning. I just slipped my mind totally. Um, but she had a course. Jenny had a course on there, and she was like, "Hey, will you check this out?" And I managed to check it out like just before this, and it was really cool. It was about hashing files and ensuring integrity of files with hashing, the MD5 sum, and other. There's
yeah,
more modern stuff than that, but it's
yeah,
like it's like you're on a Linux computer, bro, and they have like a little walkthrough. It's like a gamified Linux, which I think
right.
is superb. You know, I love that. I didn't really learn a lot from it, but a little bit. And it's fun. You know, it's fun. I like games that you learn
Keep you
from. I think
sharp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of some stuff. Oh, and then you mentioned the Ace T, which is like my new favorite cert. Dude, so I logged in. You know, there's a Simply Cyber has the monthly Meta CTF Capture the Flag contest, and
Right, right,
that's on the same platform. Meta CTF is the same platform that hosts the Ace T,
right.
and if you log in now, bro, I don't know if you've logged in since you got it, but now they've got all the way up to level 10. It isn't just that first level. And so
Oh
they're,
yeah, no, I'm at level 4 or 5 already.
are you really?
Yeah.
Cool. I fucking just banged it out the other day, man. I got to level 6. I was like,
Nice.
I was like, wow, this is super cool. And now I don't have time to spend playing capture flag all the time, but like
It's a lot.
I really, really like I think I spent like 5 hours on it. My wife was like, "What the hell have you been doing all day?" And I was like, "I'm geeking out on these capture the flags, you know." And it was really fun, and I enjoyed it, and I really appreciate them giving access to that because I think I got like 9 more days of
Oh
access,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
I am gonna run that up. I think maybe tomorrow or Sunday I am going to do my damnedest to at least get to like level 8. I want that level
Nice.
9. I want that level 9 juice, baby. I don't know, but I'll make it to 10. But there's like hundreds of CTFs on there
Oh
for it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
Oh yeah.
this is going to be a really, really good certification, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
it's going to teach people a lot of different stuff. Like I said, they get a bit repetitive. I've done a bunch of them. It just makes them easy. I went through several of the like the 50 pointers or whatever. I went through them like water, boom, boom, boom. But then it got a little more advanced, and it's fun. I enjoy it. You know, it's way better than like memorizing answers for a CompTIA exam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's
Yeah.
more useful.
And yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so not only like you're talking about doing them, but I mean, you actually so doing those, you can actually learn both ways. Not only learn how to hack, but you can learn how to protect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's not right in your face with it either. So you gotta sort of put in a little more work to learn how to do the protecting part. But I mean, it's definitely it's a two-way street on that at least. So you get to learn a lot about that.
Well, by
But
knowing the attacks, you can know how to protect, right? That's the idea,
that's
right? Yeah.
right, right.
Secure.
It's
That's
sort
how
of like
security works.
Taekwondo of cybersecurity over there.
Yeah, they
You
are,
know,
bro. McGoats, toast
right,
McGoats, man.
right.
Oh, so the next one is scripting and projects. You know about you code much, bro? What kind of
So
scripting?
it doesn't just need to be like scripting or necessarily like coding projects, but scripting it would be definitely part of it because if you come up with something that's useful for anyone, say you come up with a script to automatically shut down executables every 10 minutes or something like that, so you can't have you making sure no malware is running on your endpoints and stuff like that. That could be something. By the way, I stole that from an interview I was in. Um,
Nice.
anyway, but no, there's all kinds of projects you can do. So even like we were saying, setting up your home lab, setting up VMs, setting
Mm-hmm.
up making those endpoint agents from Waza,
Huzzah!
doing those endpoint agents on those different machines and monitoring the activity. I guarantee you put anything exposed to the internet, it's gonna get ding 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 ding. You're gonna get so many people trying to explore your stuff. It's unreal. A honeypot. There's another project,
Yeah.
the teapot project.
Mm-hmm.
And you can run those, on your home lab, or you can run them
In the
through
cloud.
AWS or something
Yeah.
like that if you want. Let me just warn you now. Um, Everything isn't free all the time, so just be careful with the way you run
Right.
things and how you provision
Put one of
resources.
them single use credit card things from privacy.com or something because I've heard horror stories of people running up bills on the cloud and they're like, holy shit, I owe $40,000. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to get that dopest server with all the RAM and everything, but you don't want to pay for that bad boy. Stick to the free tier
Dude,
if you can, right?
dude.
Stick to the free tier. Get you a student account or whatever, and you get free usage out of it. I love the
Even
cloud.
then,
The cloud, aka somebody else's computer, right? Because that's all the cloud is. There ain't no motherfucking cloud. It's
Right.
just another computer somewhere
Right.
else, virtualized. Generally, that's the great thing about the cloud is it's all virtual, right? And so the idea is you can automate the hell out of it. You really can't automate setting up hardware in your own data center, in your own data cabinet, your closet, whatever. Somebody's gonna have to actually do that shit. That's real work. But in the cloud, it's all virtual, and so you can literally write code. I've been getting into Open Tofu. I think the Linux, whatever LPI Institute, whatever the hell their name is, they have a course that I've been taking about Open Tofu, which is a open source fork of Terraform, which is
Oh,
basically, you write code out, and you can provision a server. You can pick out everything you want. You can set up so many details of it. In fact, I think you mentioned Teapot before. Teapot uses, I think, Ansible. I think they use Ansible to automate
nice.
the whole setup of the like. I think Teapot has like 20, 30 honeypots built into it, right? And
Right.
so it's basically, it just runs through the script of installing all this shit. Really, really slick. I've set it up a few times. I think one was DigitalOcean, and I think the other time maybe AWS that I set it up on. And DigitalOcean literally was like, they dinged me. They were like, "Hey, you're going against our terms of service." I'm like, "Bro, this is just a honeypot." But there's security concerns for them. I'm sure,
Right.
running a honeypot on their network. Plus, who knows? There's so much shit on there. I don't even know what's running. To me, I don't know how secure it is to run Teapot, right? Because I didn't set all that shit up. I can set up one or two honeypots, great, and I can understand what they're doing. But having that
Right.
all automated, somebody else, that just, to me, it's a little bit of a security concern, to have somebody else do all that shit, and you didn't go through. I didn't audit everything that was going through there. I didn't check for myself. And with open source and free software, that's what the great thing about it is that you can look at all the code. You can see what's running. And so if you're not going to, then you're kind of relying on other people, and that might bite you in the ass. Unfortunately, you got to be careful when you're running shit like that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a big Linux user. We've talked about this. I like Bash scripting, but I'm really into Z Shell, ZSH, instead of Bash. In Linux, Unix, it started out with like the Corn shell, there's the Bourne shell, which is Bash, and there's more modern shells, like Fish is another modern shell, and Z shell is my favorite. And you can guess why, because it starts with a fucking Z. I get this weird Z fetish. I like everything Z all the time, and so I'm learning like different coding languages that start with Z. Everything I can. There's the Z attack proxy, Zap, right?
Yep.
There's so many different things. Zeek is another cybersecurity tool, um, and that's my son's name, which I think that's super cool. And so I got into that. That's really hard. Have you fucked around with Zeke at all? That is some
Oh
shit
yeah.
right there. That's a deep well. I think it's built into active
Rita.
countermeasures. Uh, Rita, is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've downloaded that bad boy. I still haven't set it up like on my giant list of to dos. You know what I mean? That's still on there,
So Zeke originally was Bro, and it
bro.
actually Rita ingests Zeke logs to be able to do active threat hunting, which is really cool, and it's named after John Strand's mom. Which
Yeah,
I don't know. The whole thing is really cool to me. I mean, I don't know. I love those guys over there. Anything they
yeah.
come
Very
out with seems
endearing.
like it's
Once you hear their stories, right? It's very
right.
endearing, and they're like just really good people. Everybody
Yeah,
at Black Hills, man, they're all their sister companies or whatever. They're just like really high caliber people, and I admire that a lot
seriously.
myself. I dig that, and so yeah, learning the script, write code. I do Python a lot when I do uh, different capture the flags. I wind up writing Python to automate shit a lot. It just makes it really easy to do some of these hacks that you want to do. You don't want to sit there and type over and over again, do it over and over again, when Python or Bash can automate it for you. And it helps you learn, and those skills transfer over to when you're working in this field as well. So
Right.
really
So where
important.
are you
And
going
then
to show all that off?
yeah, and then we just talked about this a little bit, uh, building a public portfolio. I'm all over GitHub now. I love me some GitHub. I think I got like 45 repos or something on there, and a lot of it is stuff that I forked from other people that I wanted to screw around with later, and other stuff. I host a bunch of websites with it, right? I'm using this
Yeah.
thing called Publi right now. They have GitHub pages and Publi, which is an open source. Basically, what it does, instead of running PHP or some other shit that's vulnerable on your website, it creates a static site and uploads it to the GitHub repository. And so, I'm not running like, um, oh, what is that notoriously insecure content management system that everybody uses? I know you know. It's like, damn, the name escapes me. But I'm not running anything that can be easily hacked. It's just static web pages, right? You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard for them. It's like mail
Now you got
something.
me thinking. Now you got me
Oh well.
thinking. Was it Postman? No,
No,
that's
that's email.
different. That's
That's an email
right.
server or something, right?
Anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
WordPress. God damn it, I'm an idiot.
Oh,
WordPress.
WordPress. Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
WordPress is
I
really
got rid.
insecure. The
I got rid of
plugins
my WordPress site.
Yeah, the plugins in WordPress are a bit can be a problem, right? A lot of times, and everybody wants the plugins because it provides so much functionality. But this Publi works great. I think I've got like 7 sites built into it. I'm building out the grassroots cyber stuff through it, right? That's my
Oh,
goal.
nice.
Yeah, is to set that up. I just started working on the Grassroots Cyber Pro, and that's going to be hopefully like the portal for everybody who wants to be in the field. I'd like to get people that are experienced professionals as mentors and kind of set it up like some type of guild system. You know what I mean? Where noobs
Yeah,
can get in it, find mentors, find projects, and what I'd like it to be is easy for individuals and organizations to plug into it, right? Because everybody has their own thing going on, and I'm not trying to disparage or take away from anybody else's organization. I want them to be a part of this one as well. I think that would
yeah.
be beneficial for everybody.
To join to the community, to build, contribute to the whole, everything as a whole. And
Yeah,
so
man.
that even leads us back to into the next part here, wherever we can all engage on LinkedIn and different social sites. This doesn't just have to be, me and you riffing back and forth. We can even have people coming in on here, which we talked about, we've had already.
Yeah.
And we're trying to build this community as well as with Simply Cyber and stuff like that, running in parallel, not necessarily trying, like you said, we're not trying to
Right.
clash with anyone. We're trying to,
Mhm.
everyone needs to realize that cybersecurity and, I guess IT or tech, whatever you want to call it in general, we're not all competing necessarily. We're all on the same team.
Yeah.
Eventually, especially with, AI evolving and stuff like that, we are all going to be on the same team, probably fighting against the AI eventually, and not to go all Terminator on us or anything, but, you know,
Cyberdyne systems.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we're not, but yeah, everyone, and when you're doing all this, stay making, stay humble, stay trying to learn, stay trying to accept feedback from others, stay trying to and comment and give input on a with your that shows passion and competence and shows that you know how to participate in this industry, not just, oh, that sucks or that's stupid or I did that once or try harder or
Right.
no, none of that stuff. Like, we're here to be part of something bigger than ourselves. That's why I'm here. At least I know that is, I have a passion for the whole concept of just cybersecurity as a whole. It has nothing to do with, oh, well, I just want to be here to make 100,000 a year or 700,000 a year or
Yeah.
whatever, any of
Yeah.
that. Or I love being the top of the CTF thing or any of that. Like that, that's that's not me.
I
I'm
am.
I'm
I am top 99% on Try Hack Me.
That's decent. That's decent.
No, dog.
99%.
Not. I haven't even used that shit. I'll be frank with you. Once or
Oh, you'd
twice.
blow it away. You'd blow it away.
Once
It's
or
fun
twice. It's
though.
cool. It's fun. Whatever. I don't want to downplay what
So
they're doing. Are we moving into
so
certs now? Are we gonna move on
yeah,
to
we're gonna
certs?
we're gonna talk we're gonna talk about these certifications, and let's talk about certifications. Are basically just your way to sort of lubricate things and get your foot in the door.
Grease up
So
them
they're not going to
gears.
guarantee you anything as far as getting the job. But they will get you past a lot of the checkers and stuff like that. And unfortunately, for people that do have the certs, like you and I, we're getting a lot of these certifications, and others are too. Some people aren't getting them, and they're still listing them on the resume. And there's ways to get around the AIs and stuff like that by listing them on there, and even saying and being honest that hey, you're just trying to get them or something like that, which is cool. But I mean, if you're actually trying to get them, try to get them. Don't just sit there and BS your way through it, because eventually someone's going to call you out on it, and then you're going to be gone. So, try to get it, try to hit a home run the first time. Don't sit there and try to, wait for, whatever. I'm not good with baseball. Anyway.
Let me take the opposite on that. Hey, I know people say that a lot. My perspective is bullshit your way through whatever the fuck you got to get where you need to be. That's what I believe in. And you're right, Brian. It might bite you in the ass later. It might not. You never know. I mean,
Right.
if you list on your resume to get by the ATS, what is it you say, like studied for such and such exam or whatever, right? You know what I mean? I mean, don't lie. Don't be a fucking piece of shit. But at the same time, everybody's
Stay
got to get
honorable.
doors. Everybody's got to get it, and I understand. You do what you got to do. Just be able to handle it. I've always told my children as I raise them, I said, in life, everybody can do whatever the hell you want. You can do whatever you want, but you also have to deal with the consequences of your actions, right? So just take that in mind. If you're gonna BS your way through life, you're gonna have to deal with it, right? Like if somebody might catch you up, you might get caught up, and then bring you in the office, and they'll be like, hey, we tried to check out your XYZ exam. Clearly, you don't have this exam. You don't have this certification. And then what are you going to be saying?
You
And,
say,
and
see, I did.
yeah, but what had happened was,
What
so
had
I
happened
have,
was
Brad, do you, Cyber B, do you got the comp TIA?
I
Security
got
Plus?
the security plus. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
got that one.
yeah.
Yep.
That's like the de facto, right? Is that's like you have to have that,
I
basically,
mean,
right?
it's pretty generalized. It's
Yeah,
and but the thing about CompTIA is cool is that it's not vendor specific, but also if you can get the Sec Plus, it actually shows that you probably have the qualifications to also have had the A Plus and the Net Plus, because those two are before it.
right.
So you're sort of building,
Skipping ahead.
yeah, you're just skipping a step if you go straight
Hmm.
for it. No one's saying that you're actually going to be looked at the same, because I won't lie, the A plus is still pretty highly looked at by different professions, especially leading into cyber, such as IT support and IT help desk.
Right.
But then we can always come back to the home lab stuff, and have you played with Azure enough, and or Azure, or whatever you want to call it, or have you played with AWS enough to sort of know that I'm good. I can bypass that stuff anyway. It's cool. So it's just like you said, where'd your experience come from? Where do you show your proof from?
Right.
Like
Right. And
are
can you back it
some
up?
people yeah, some people show it through certifications, other people show it through, home labs, scripts, portfolios. So I mean, and so there's the other one I haven't gotten yet, which I mean I think I'm gonna go get, just so I can keep my Sec Plus relevant and get without having to do any of those CEUs or
Uh huh.
CPEs and
Yeah.
all that stuff, because the way they count them is weird, and I'm just sort of getting sick of the whole process. But the CYSA Plus, which is the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus,
It's
and
like a step
that's
up.
yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
step up. And so what I've heard is it's a little bit more, or not just heard, but what I've experienced in looking at the material is it's a little bit less of the definitions and more of the how to's.
Ah.
So it's not necessarily like just practical or like hands on, but it is definitely a lot more of the how do you do things than just what is this.
They probably have more PBQs or whatever they call them. Do you think they have more of those
Not
type of
many,
questions?
not many
No.
more. No, from what I've read and heard and everything like that. No, it's not many more. It's just more like they'll give you a scenario again, like all those questions do. They'll give you a little scenario, and they ask you, all right, what would you do next, or how would you handle this, or and then they give you your choices and all that. So then you're
Yeah,
pretty
multiple
much
choice is fucked. I can bullshit my way through any multiple choice. You know what I mean? I can pass damn near any multiple choice test, man.
for real. But
What
then
what is that PNPT? Who is that? What organization is that, brother?
So that's TCM Security. That's actually
Okay,
a pretty cool one. They're not necessarily totally new on the scene, but they are a little bit. It's actually it costs about the other ones, the CompTIA and stuff like that. I think they're what, like 350 or something like that.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think the CompTIA ones are about 350. TCM, they're doing this one. It's a practical hands-on exam. They give you, I think, 5 days to do the exam, and then 2 days to do the write-ups for it, because you have to do the actual write-ups. But it's $500. Currently, it's on sale for $399, so $400. I'm not big on the whole 99 things. I was never into 100% into marketing, but
Marketing is a scam. Marketing is a ripoff, a mental
I
mind
mean,
fuck,
you
right?
take a dollar off of something, you're not tricking me. But anyway, but
Five
yeah,
hundred
there's
dollars?
those. There's that one. There's the other popular one that a lot of people go to, but the OSCP from
No.
Offensive Security, and that you're talking about bringing down, your it's all basically it's not self proctored, but it's all on your home system, and I think you get. I swear I looked at it before, and I used to know a lot more about it, but I think it's 48 hours. Is that what they give you for that
That
one?
sounds right. Yeah.
I think they give you 48 hours for that one, but you're also going to be dropping like $1,500.
Yeah, expensive. And
So,
then there's another one from ISC2, the SSCP. That's kind of similar to the CompTIA CYSA, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's somewhat similar. You're definitely it's more on the I guess entry level. They say it's good for people with 1 year experience, and it's going to run you about $250. So, I mean, it's another one that's going to start showing up on a lot of these job descriptions and job requirements. And the only reason a lot of these show up is because if you're ever going to work for any of these companies that are involved with some of the DoD requirements, some of them require you have anything as little as just the Security Plus or the CYSA or the um, SSCP or the CCSP or
Yeah,
any of those, because they're going to step you up in a according to DoD Directive 8570. You need those to do certain jobs. So to
right.
be involved on certain projects and stuff like that, if your
Federal
company is
contractors.
involved with exactly, if your company is involved with the DoD at all, you're literally going to have that in order to participate on the project. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to even take part because like, well, you're not qualified. Sorry. So, and then there's always the CISSP, which, or CISP as everyone calls it. And
And then
you
there's what, the
can
CSSM or something like that too.
CISM is a good
Yeah,
one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I was recommended to take now is the CISP and that CISM or whatever the hell it is, and
Yeah.
I don't know. You gotta have 5 years experience, right? And you can take
Yeah.
it, but you don't actually get the certification until you have like two people vouch for you that you have 5 years experience. I think something along those lines, right?
Right. And the CISM, I know you can use educational years in lieu of some of the experience that's required, because I think that one's only like 3 years or something like that.
Right on.
But the CISSP, they recommend that you get that once you're 5 years experience in your career. Some influencers and people like that, they'll tell you, no, go get it now, and then you'll get the experience. Well,
Yeah,
if that
you
was the
you get
case,
a job.
I'd already be 2 years into my job search, without a job, but
Right.
I'd have my
Word.
CISP, which is your CISP associates, because it's not really your CISP, and then I'd be out trying to gather more experience for the next 3 years. I don't know, the whole thing. Like, it's like I'll get it when it's the right time, but I don't personally think getting it beforehand is
Me neither.
really all that worth it either, because you're talking about $750. So,
I'm not a
I mean, if
cert chaser.
you got that kind of scratch laying around, I mean, good for you. But I
Good on you.
mean, we're trying to get in to get a career started. We're not trying to let the career destroy you before you even get going. I mean, make you go, down the tubes with no money left. So
Bankrupt. Um,
bankrupt, yeah.
yeah, word. So, Now we're moving on. Hey, we're hitting the hour mark here, and so we probably need to like start wrapping this shit up. I heard that people get bored after an hour video on YouTube. You know what I mean? Uh,
Right.
Community is the cheat code, and I think that's cool. We met through community. We met through the Simply Cyber community. I was like
Right.
bullshitting in chat, and you were like, "Dude, you're fucking hysterical," and we just hit it off, and we were talking. And you were in Colorado, right? You were out west at the time, and then
Yep.
you've moved back to where I live, and we are or nearby-ish, I should say. And you know, I think we just hit it off, and we were like, "Man, we need to like do this on video, right?
Just do
We need
something. We just
yeah,
need to
yeah,
do
right.
something, man.
And so
Get it
we're kind
going.
of working to build community here. I have several mentors that have told me different advice and helped me through things. I think that's really key to community is finding people that are a little more experienced than you that can give you good advice. Discord is a great. I don't really care for it because it's not free and open source software, but that's where everybody lives. There's a big overlap. Discord was a gaming tool, right? A gaming chat tool, but a lot of nerds, a lot of cybersecurity folk, IT folk, and there's overlap to the gaming community, right? And so I think it's kind of like a de facto. I think I'm in maybe like 40 Discord servers, honestly. You know what I mean? And there's so many of them, so many
Oh yeah.
cybersecurity ones. And there's different support, like different software. Their support actually goes through Discord, and so um, I think that uh, uh, it's a great platform that you can share screens, share documents, have like little meetings. It's a great community platform. I, I'm involved in my local B sides as well. I think that's another way to build community too. Go
Totally.
find people in your local area that are interested in cybersecurity. And when I went to mine, I was flabbergasted by the amount of people that came to it.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
in a smaller area. There was a lot of folks. There was like several tracks. It was a pretty pro con. You know what I mean? Convention, whatever you want to call it. What
Yeah.
do you call it? Besides like a meetup, right? I don't know. It's a conference, right?
It's a conference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Expo, whatever
con.
you want to
It's just a
call
little
it.
informal compared to a lot of other conferences. It's a
Yeah.
little more local. I think it's a bit accessible for people. Myself,
That's
you
what
know
it's
what I
meant to
mean?
be. That's what it's meant to be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so maybe we should like wrap this bad boy up. You want we got room for like questions and like hot takes, hot takes. But do you got any hot takes, bro? I'm kind of like good on the hot takes right now. Do you have anyone you want to share, man, or any questions or anything you want to talk about as we wrap this bad boy up?
Nah, it's just everything looks good on paper, but it really doesn't mean anything or doesn't mean jack unless you can back it up. So,
Word.
keep those home labs going, get your profiles built, get your portfolios going, show something. Don't just sit there and show a piece of paper because your little piece of paper is going to go flapping in the wind and they're going to say, "Okay, cool. What can you do though?"
Right. They're gonna sit you down at a
And
desk, and you're gonna have to put out. Right.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
can't do it, then you can't do it, baby.
Yeah. So, and just adding on to that, the skills gap is a myth. There's plenty of people out there that are talented. We've encountered tons of them on Simply Cyber and him at B sides. I'm sure me at different things. As far as you can find these people at like he was saying meetup.com and go to DEF CON meetings or B sides. Both great organizations to meet people, but you'll meet a ton of people, and there's no skill shortage. So, and if anything, go learn from them because they know more, especially if they've been in the field at all. So that's just a hot take there. Um, do you want to talk about what to do if you get stuck in an IT support position, or we gonna sort of move on and wrap it up here?
Yeah, I think we probably wrap it up. We're over an hour now, and
All
I
right.
think that was pretty entertaining myself. I enjoyed this conversation. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, so should we do the
So that's
outro?
a wrap on that's a wrap on this episode of Cybersecurity or Cyber Reality Check from Grassroots Cyber Club. If this didn't completely offend you and you actually got some value out of it, do us a solid, like, share, and hit the follow button down below. And yeah, go ahead.
If you got a question, a scorching hot take, or
Oof.
workplace horror story that you need to share, We want to know about it. Hit me up. I'm everywhere. You can basically holler Smeth on the internet. You can find me. Google me, bitch. I'm everywhere. And we've got this platform here that we're chatting on. You can come live and talk to us while we're doing these live streams. And you can email me at Zmef at grassrootscyber.club. And you can hit up Brian the same, CyberB at grassrootscyber.club. Yeah, and we would love for you to be a part of this.
All right. Until then, stay patched, stay skeptical, and always remember cybersecurity isn't magic. It's just massively misunderstood.
It's misunderstood.
Thank you all.
Peace.
Later.
Hey, that was cool.